For 2 months, the image of Liam's face had been a ghost haunting the date nets of Earth. His smile, gap-toothed, sun-drenched thing from a school photo, was seared into the collective consciousness. The official bulletins from the Galactic Concordance were sterile and unhelpful. The matter of the misplaced organic is under investigation. Misplaced. As if the 8-year-old boy had been a set of keys, not a child stolen from a playground in Oslo by a silent, shimmering craft. His parents, Alara and Mark, became hollowed-out monuments to grief on every news feed, their hope a dying star. Humanity, a relatively new and junior member of the Concordance, watched with a simmering, impotent rage. They had advanced, yes. They possessed star drives and plasma cannons. But they were still viewed by the elder races, particularly the Ixther, a species of tall, slender beings with chitinous skin and emotionless, multifaceted eyes, as volatile, emotional primitives. Then, the broadcast began. It didn't come through human channels. It was a Concordance-wide emergency feed, originating from the Ixther flagship judgment of the Silent Star. There was no warning. One moment, there was the serene star-dusted void. The next, a stage of polished blue-black metal. An Ixther Grand Inquisitor stood, its long, delicate fingers steepled. It spoke in a clicking, synthesized voice about a necessary behavioral study being concluded. It used words like specimen, emotional response mapping, and final analysis. Then they brought Liam out. He was small and frail in a stark white smock, his feet bare on the cold floor. He was crying, not with loud sobs, but with the quiet, hopeless tears of a child who has exhausted all his screams. He was calling for his mother, a word that needed no translation in any language. The camera, with cold, clinical precision, zoomed in on his face, capturing every tremor of his lip, every terrified blink. On Earth, in living rooms and public squares, 1 billion breaths were held. Alara, watching from her silent apartment, reached a hand toward the screen, a low moan escaping her lips. "My baby." The Inquisitor produced a slender metallic rod. There was no grand speech, no declaration of war. It was a simple, almost mundane gesture. It pointed the rod at Liam, a hum, a pinprick of blinding white light. Liam had just enough time to look up, his eyes wide with a final, uncomprehending terror. Then he dissolved. It was not an explosion. It was an unmaking. His form frayed at the edges, turning to shimmering motes of light from his toes upward. For a heart-rending second, his outline remained, a phantom of what was, and then it too collapsed inward into nothing. The motes faded. The white smock fluttered to the empty floor. The broadcast cut. The silence that fell over Earth was deeper than space itself. It was the silence of a heart that has skipped a beat, the silence before the dam breaks. In that silence, something in the human psyche, something that had been forged in the crucible of ancient wars and boundless love for its young, snapped. It was not a decision made by presidents or generals. It was a verdict passed by the entire species, communicated in a single, unified wave of psychic fury that crashed against the shields of every concordant ship in the sector. It was a roar of pure, undiluted wrath that made the Ixther, for the first time in their cold history, feel a sensation akin to fear. Admiral Eva Rostova, aboard the sole defense dreadnought Vengeance of Gaia, was the one who gave it a voice. Her own face was streaked with tears, her hands clenched so tightly her nails drew blood. The order she transmitted was not a military command. It was a promise. For Liam, the human fleet, which the Concordance had always considered a modest defensive force, revealed its true nature. Hatches irised open on the dark side of moons in the asteroid belt deep within the atmosphere of Jupiter. Ships, not of graceful alien design, but of brutal, angular human engineering, swarmed into the void. Their engines did not glow. They burned with incandescent fury. Their first target was not the Ixther fleet. It was Ixther Prime. The Ixther homeworld was a jewel, a planet of elegant crystalline cities and serene blue oceans. Their planetary shield, a masterpiece of technology, flared to life. A bubble of immense energy that had repelled asteroids and rival fleets for millennia. From the heart of the human fleet, a ship unlike any other moved forward, the Fist of Terra. It was not a warship, it was a weapon. A spinal mount running its entire length began to glow, drawing power not from reactors, but from tapped ley lines deep within the Earth itself, channeling the planet's own rage. A beam of pure white energy, the same color that had unmade Liam, lanced out. It did not strike the shield. It ignored it. The beam phased through conventional energy matrices, striking the planet's core directly. There was no explosion. The surface of Ixther Prime did not shatter. It simply turned to fine, gray dust. The ocean's flash boiled into a permanent swirling steam. The atmosphere was scoured away. In less than a minute, a world that had nurtured a civilization for 100 million years was reduced to a sterile, glowing ball of molten rock. 1 billion Ixthor ceased to exist, their elegant thoughts and cold philosophies erased from the universe. The galaxy watched in stunned horror. This was not war. This was extermination. But it was not enough. The human fleet turned its gaze to the Ixther armadas. What followed was not a battle. It was a hunt. Human ships, displaying a terrifying and previously hidden mastery of quantum slipstream travel, appeared amidst Ixther formations without warning. Their weapons did not target engines or weapons. They targeted life support. They shredded hulls, spilling thousands of chitinous bodies into the vacuum, where they floated in a silent, frozen cloud of limbs and shattered carapaces. They broadcast these hunts live. There was no commentary, only the silent, relentless destruction. It was a lesson delivered with brutal clarity. You made us watch our child die, now watch yours. Finally, they found it. The judgment of the Silent Star, trying to flee to the Galactic Rim, it was cornered by 3 human dreadnoughts. Its shields were stripped away, its weapons were melted to slag. Then, with surgical precision, the humans used focused EMP bursts to disable its systems without destroying it. Marines in black power armor, their faces hidden behind expressionless helmets, breached the hull. They met no resistance. The Ixther crew, their will broken, offered only passive, clicking terror. They found the Grand Inquisitor in its command throne. It was not killed. Admiral Rostova herself came aboard. She stood before the captured creature, looking down at it as it had looked down at Liam. "You sought to understand humanity," she said, her voice quiet and cold as the void. "You thought our emotions were a weakness? You were wrong. They are our engine, our gravity, our God. You took our child. So we have taken your future." The Inquisitor and its surviving crew were not executed. They were taken to a specially constructed habitat on a lifeless moon in the Sol system. A beautiful, serene enclosure with replicas of Ixther architecture and carefully curated food. The walls were made of one-way transparent aluminum. Every day, human children on school trips are brought to look in. They point at the tall, slender creatures clicking softly to each other. They read the plaque at the enclosure's entrance, which details the species' history and its fatal error. The plaque's title is simple. The pets, the Ixther, are fed, kept healthy, and studied. They have everything they need to survive, and nothing they need to live. They are a permanent exhibit, a living memorial to a single, small boy. Their empire is dust, their ships are scrap, and their legacy is a cautionary tale whispered in the halls of the Galactic Concordance. For the galaxy learned a terrifying truth that day. Do not harm a human child. You may be advanced, you may be ancient, you may be powerful, but humanity is a mother. You just showed her the body of her son.